How'd it go today?
Not bad.
Yeah.
I expect you with your afternoon. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, just in the last hour, like the wind picked up, the clouds came in.
Okay. Storms are brewing?
Storms are brewing.
That might kill our 2 o'clock pop. Are they gonna do food?
So I had mentioned above that they could go through QC or that we have our own menu, and she didn't say she wanted to go forward with QC, but do you think I should still give her that option once again?
Yeah, it would just be clear that we don't really offer like a catering service, so if they want like a cater menu, then their best bet is to go with QC, but if they're just you know, a lot of people think of beer as, you know, cheap mass market beer, and that's all they've ever been exposed to, or they think of craft beer as just IPA, but exploring outside of those kind of narrow margins and finding something that's really unique and, you know, seeing people's eyes light up when they try something and say, I didn't know beer could taste like that. That's a really fun opportunity to, you know, really, yeah, connect people that didn't think that this community is for them.
The beautiful thing about Charlotte is Charlotte's a city that most people have never really heard of. This is the second fastest growing city in the US. It's the second biggest banking center in the US. It has the second largest airport. I think we're the 15th fastest growing city in the entire country. And what that's led to is a city that has a dynamic that is at the same time both a little down on itself, but also unbelievably optimistic.
It's the biggest city in North Carolina, but it doesn't really feel like that a lot of times. There are very distinct and individual neighborhoods, like, you know, Noda, which is the part of town we're in, is the Arts District. You know, Uptown is the banking sort of sector. South End is the section outside of Uptown where young working people like to spend all their money.
The city's growing like crazy. I mean, just being in here 10 years, I can see the difference looking out the window. It's a vibrant community, it's growing. It's like literally like if you want to come to Atlanta 15 years ago, this is kind of the beginning of that, you know? We're growing and we're getting there, and there's growing pains in the city, but we're trying to make it work, and every day I see more diversity in the cuisine, the culture, everything that's available in the city, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And then you have people like Dan Wade, coming from Florida, coming from a background self, with a real microbiology and chemistry background, who really looks at beer in a different way. He looks at it as science, not as something artistic or as something culinary, and we're all better for that. So some of the most unique and interesting beers in the whole of the Southeast is coming out of Wooden Robot.
Yeah, my name's Dan Wade. I'm the co-founder and operations director for Wooden Robot Brewery. I guess I started learning that craft beer existed and learning about craft beer at a pretty young age from my dad and uncle. They kind of started home brewing when I was still in my early teens. When I got to college, started home brewing as a hobby. I studied mechanical engineering, and it was just a really good way to kind of explore all the science and everything that I was, you know, learning in my engineering degree, and also apply it to something a little more creative. Yeah, so we call ourselves an urban farmhouse brewery, and you know what that means to us is we kind of take a farmhouse philosophy of using local ingredients whenever possible and making beers that are really drinkable, really approachable. You know, those farmhouse beers were drank on the farm during a long, hard work day. So we want all of our beers across all the different styles we brew to feature local ingredients really prominently, and we love to tell that story. So 100% of our beer is brewed with local malt. So a lot of it is kind of leaning on the tradition of the process of oak aging, and then critically tasting the beer and letting it speak to us a little bit and say, hey, this has this great character. How do we amplify that, or how do we play off of it? How do we contrast it to create something unique? So we really try to use that as the foundation for a lot of our creativity, and then just finding other local ingredients and just letting the ingredient play off of what, tell us what beer it would go well in, and building a recipe around a particular ingredient. So that's the kind of farmhouse approach of it. And then urban is it's embracing the multiculturalism that comes with being in a vibrant, growing city. So, taking influences from other cultures, other restaurants, other, partners and artisans that we get to work with in all different capacities. So Wooden Robot is really symbolic of, the traditional artisanal approach to brewing on one hand, and on the other hand, a very scientific, innovative approach. So we're trying to take the best of both worlds and meld it together to make something really unique and beautiful, and just something that is very specific to us.
It's a really great industry to be a part of because it's almost all small businesses. In fact, kind of by definition, the craft brewing industry is small businesses.
The sense of beer community is very strong. And where Charlotte, it became a very tight-knit community, I guess, for me when I moved here. Working at Noda, being exposed to the smaller groups, or the smaller breweries here, and just a smaller scene really makes everyone come together in a way that's not just like communicative, but also very friendly, and we are very much friends.
One of the beautiful things about Charlotte is the fact that when people come here, they don't really have a preconception of what Charlotte's going to be. It's a city that if people have heard about at all, it's probably from the Charlotte Hornets, or the Carolina Panthers, or one of our sports teams that plays on a national level. But when it comes to the actual city and its character, it has a rich history. This was famously described by the British as the hornet's nest. It's always been a place of fire and innovation and development and rebellion. And for craft beer, that's fertile ground to be able to build something that takes all the influences, not just from the Southeast, not just from North Carolina, but from all over the country, and really synthesizes them into something truly special.
I think one of the most fun things for me is when someone comes in with their friends and they say, I don't like beer. I kind of always see that as a challenge to try to find something that they will enjoy, right? Because they might not have a full understanding of the range, and approaching it from other perspectives where, if you like cider and wine, maybe, finding a beer that has a little more acidity to it or a little bit more fruit character to it that they might really enjoy. Or if they're a coffee drinker, finding a great dry Irish stout or a porter that has some of those chocolatey coffee notes that they might enjoy. I always loved math and science, and that's why I kind of got into engineering, but I also wanted an opportunity to apply that math and science to something more creative. So brewing gives you that opportunity you can really dive into the technical side, but at the end of the day, you're trying to make something that people are going to enjoy. So you can apply the technical side, but you still have to have that creative, artisanal mindset when you go into it as well. So it's all about balance for me. It's not just, again, sitting behind a desk working on spreadsheets. It's getting your hands dirty and touching and feeling, the product and what you're creating, and getting to see people, really enjoy it, watch it bring people together is what kind of brings it all together.
Every one of these breweries has an entirely different background. Every one of them has an entirely different story, and every single one of them is bringing something unique, so that we don't have 70+ breweries in the Charlotte area. We have 70+ completely interesting, unique, different stories that are all doing something that we would be a little less without.
Yeah, we really love just serving this community and doing that in the best way we can and finding new ways to do it. So for us, it's not a tap room in every city or our beer on every shelf. It's brewing beer that we're really passionate about and just trying to create a little bit more joy in our community by bringing people together, by giving them a product that we're really passionate about for them to sip and enjoy. I think it's a very simple goal, but I think it's something that it brings a lot of fulfillment to the whole team, and it is something that we can really rally around.